Do you want to talk about your thing now?
Yeah, just we don't have to even spend this much time on it, but we're just talking about a couple of junior players around, and it's interesting because you handle this differently than me, I think, and it's just about time management and distractions. So now this is probably not the most appropriate thing for um, like youth hockey. It's more for kids that are like actually like maybe I would even say like 16 and up. Maybe I could be wrong, but it's for kids that are in training now. Like they're
They're
playing
actually
probably
training. Yeah.
junior or getting to junior and up. So the thing is when you come home for the summertime, how do you manage your distractions? Meaning events, parties, friends, versus your training, your rest, recovery, nutrition. So that sounds like it might not be that hard. You just, you make the right decisions, right? Or right, that's
Yeah.
kind of, you just make
Yeah.
the right decisions. But what happens is and I would just give maybe a different version of it, is you could have all the intentions in the world, but there's people out there that are time stealers, and there's people out there or things out there that you get attracted to. No, I'm not talking just women and stuff. I'm talking about like life, because everyone likes to have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could have all the good intentions in the world, and the number one thing is to when you come home from your season is providing that you want to get to a level of hockey, is to make sure that you're recovered first. And what that means is that you could have it could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks of letting your body heal and maybe not doing a whole lot. After that, it has to be go time to focus on making yourself better. So does that mean what does that mean? That means you're going to have to get in shape. You're going to have to eat right and all that kind of stuff. So the problem comes in is uh, it's very innocently you're in your second week of working out, let's say, and you find out that your buddy's coming into town, or you have one of your buddies says, "Hey, let's go here," or you have a trip here, or whatever, and your mommy says, "Oh, we're going to here for a week," or and all these things get in the way. And of course, and then sometimes it's great because it's someone that makes you laugh, right? And you can sit there and laugh for 2 hours and waste 2 hours and stuff, and all of a sudden you didn't have a great productive day. So I'm just looking at all these different things that could take your time and would be fun to do, but then maintaining your purpose and getting stuff done. So, for the purpose of this conversation, I just want to say, if you come home as a hockey player in the summertime from an OHL team or a pro team, how would you? Weddings are very popular. That's
Oh,
another.
yeah.
There's the one. Like a lot of the guys would say, I got 8 weddings this summer, and I'm like, for me, I'm like, you can't go. You can't possibly go to 8 weddings. That's 8 weekends.
That's every weekend.
Well, that's
of
what I'm
the summer.
saying. And sometimes there's 14
Yeah.
invitations. I'm like, so do you make for me, that's what I do is I make my decisions early. It's like I can't go unless it's like a real special one. But that would be 8 weekends. That would be recovery time is not even there, right? So anyways, that's what I'm saying. So how would you go about looking at that summer
Yeah.
or the distractions or whatever?
Did you have anything when you said that, like how you and I handle things differently or think of things differently? Did you have anything specific you were thinking about saying that? I'm just curious.
For me,
Like your initial comment was, Eric, handles it or thinks of it differently than you.
Yeah.
That was something you said. Did you have something specific in mind when you said that? I'm just curious. Like, what do you think the difference is between how we would?
okay, so for me, in everything I do, I'm all or nothing. There's no gray area, and that's a fault. Can be. Yes. And for you, you can look at your little engineer brain and your and being organized and say, okay, well, I can design my program till Thursday, and I can take some time off here, and I can make up for it. So for me, I look at like my kid or any kid that talks to me, I know you can't do it. You got to say no to that. And that's probably not the answer. But for me, that's how I have to do it. Like if I'm going to commit to training for the summertime, like I don't want to go one place. I want to get to bed at a certain time. And as soon as my wife goes, "Oh, we're having dinner with these people," I'm like, "You ruined my whole summer."
Yeah.
I swear to you, that's what I say. Like now what do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get me, do you? You just want to piss around in life and I want to get myself in shape, but you don't mind going out for a pizza, do you?
You're right.
All or nothing. So
Exactly.
the all is good if you can stick to it. It's maybe not the funnest, but it's fun for me. And but on the other side, it's like you ruin everybody else's life,
Yeah. It, it, it
and you might not have fun.
or it comes down to kind
Oh,
of what do
and
you
sorry, last
go.
thing. So then, if I do decide to go out on the Saturday night and I start sucking beers back, well, I'm sucking them back,
Yeah.
big time.
Right. Yeah. I have a little bit of that, but I can definitely do a little bit more compartmentalize, if that's a word, for different reasons. So for me, it just comes down to like my preference personally is just I would rather not do anything and just focus on what I'm focusing on, just because that's what I prefer. But I can participate in whatever the thing is if I need to. I can plan for it. I'm good at doing that. But when I explain it to other people, like if I'm having a talk with Chooch or whoever, and they're talking about off season things they have going on, I always try to land in the reasonable where it's like you don't have to do. But if I'm being honest about what I think, it's like you should just not do it, like right, and just stay focused on what you're focused on. But if we're going to be functioning members of society, you have to participate in certain things, certain times, and it is what it is. So there's things you can do to make it better or worse if you're going to, So I kind of think of it as like an area under the curve problem for all my
Area what?
area under the curve. This is a math thing. So if you have like a graph, um, the area under the curve will represent how much of something is being done, whether it's work, whether it's whatever thing you're measuring. So the example that I could use is if let's say you want to make the most amount of money possible, you could either charge you could have a small market you're going for and charge a lot of money for it, where you have 10 people buy it, or you could make it super cheap and have 1 million people buy it. The area under the curve is the same. Like you're going to get the same amount of money at the end of the day. So there's two kind of in terms of off season and planning and stuff. I think of it like that. Like how am I going to, if I want to maximize the amount of progress I make, I know I'm going to take a couple breaks, let's say. How can I still maximize my progress, including those things? So they're just having this conversation the other day, how, okay, I want to go on this trip and I want to do this thing. It's like, okay, that's 2 events, let's say. Is that all you're going to do? There's the first question, are you going to do more? Are you going to act?
This is the thing.
This is the thing, So it just comes down to you being very honest about what are you actually going to do? What do you actually want to do? And then making the plan based on what you're honestly going to do, which that's the hard part. The hard part is the honest part. So if you say, okay, I'm actually only going to have 2 weekends this whole off season where I go and I go off my plan, that's manageable. But if you say, I'm going to have 2 weekends and then 3, 4, 5 other weekends slip in there where you're kind of off plan, well, now it's 7 weekends, right? Or it's 5 weekends. That's not 2 anymore, And there's things that can seem harmless that actually are. Like an example that I like just listening to recently with Gary Roberts, he was talking about golf.
I was just going to say golf.
Right? Yeah. So it seems like the most harmless thing you could do. So you do your skate, you do your workout. It's like, hey, let's go play golf for the rest of the day. It's like, hey, you're in the sun, you're dehydrated, you're walking 20,000 steps. It's like, is that conducive to recovery after your skate and workout today? No, is the answer. So you're going to get back to the gym the next day and you're going to be gassed. So if you go play golf 30 times a summer, it's like that's 30 days of you not actually optimizing your recovery, right? Where what are we trying to optimize? So it doesn't just have to be partying or drinking or hanging out with your girlfriend too late or whatever. It doesn't have to be just that. There's these other things. Buddy invites you to go to sushi, and then you eat too much sushi. You thought you wouldn't. You eat too much, and now, I had a workout later. Now my workout was shit because I'm bloated from eating too much sushi. Like these kinds of things, So it's not just the obvious ones.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's not the obvious ones because you can have the best intentions in the world for sure, and then your best bud from a guy that you play with is in town. They just popped in, or a couple guys are in town. We're playing golf. No, you got to come, and it's like if you didn't book your workout early enough in the morning, or if it pulls you away from something, like it's all these distractions, right? Yeah. So going to your point, I think that's another thing. For me, that's the time management thing, or to eliminate distractions the most, is to get things done as soon as, like, scheduled before like 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, so, you work at certain times and stuff, but like the fitness piece, if I was to wait till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then it leaves way, way, way too much room for me not to do it. It could be something like, well, you could just maybe have an extra coffee that just throws you off, like I'm lazy now, or someone comes in and steals your time, and then it's like, then you're rushed for time. So for me, that's my thing, is that I have to get my workouts done by this time, and then the worst thing that could happen after that is that I went off the rails somewhere, got distracted, but at least it's
At
done.
least you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
for
if you
sure.
wait till I like working out at 3, it's like there's a lot of things that could go wrong.
Yeah.